So what if I told you there's a place right here on Earth where sunlight never, ever reaches? A place where the pressure is so incredibly intense that solid steel gets crushed like a tiny piece of paper. You know, whenever we've managed to venture down there, we've only seen the absolute tiniest fraction of what's actually hiding in the dark. It's deep, it's totally silent, and it's so vastly unknown that even our most high-tech machines barely survive the trip. Oh, and it's completely real. Welcome to the Mariana Trench.
We're exploring a realm today that is just so fundamentally hostile to human life, it honestly prompts a pretty unsettling thought. What if there's a place on Earth we were simply never meant to see? Like, are we literally trespassing on a boundary of our own planet? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Section 1. The deepest place on Earth, the Challenger Deep.
Okay, so located way out in the western Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Trench is basically this massive 2,500-kilometer-long scar in the Earth's crust. But its length isn't actually the scary part, it's the depth. At its lowest known point, a valley we call the Challenger Deep, the ocean floor plunges nearly 11,000 meters straight down. To really wrap your head around that kind of scale, we have to completely throw out our normal understanding of geography.
Think about it like this. If you took Mount Everest, literally the tallest, most imposing mountain on the planet, and dropped it right into the bottom of the trench, its peak wouldn't even breach the surface. Actually, the absolute tip of Everest would still be buried under more than 2 kilometers of pitch-black water. 2 kilometers, just let that sink in for a second. The tallest mountain we have would totally disappear.
Section 2. Crushing Pressure and Eternal Night. As we descend past the reach of the sun, things get intense really fast. At sea level, you and I live under 1 atmosphere of pressure, right? But down at the bottom of the trench, the pressure is over 1,000 times greater. Try to imagine the physical weight of 50 jumbo jets pressing down on your body, all at the exact same time. It is so extreme that those thick, heavy metal submarines need highly specialized engineering just so they don't instantly implode.
And because of these absolutely terrifying conditions, we have physically explored less than 5% of Earth's oceans. That leaves 95% as a total mystery. It's honestly kind of ironic. With all our modern tech, we actually know more about the dusty surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own planet. It's almost suspicious how little of our home we can actually access. A huge reason for that is the environment itself. I mean, sunlight just vanishes after you descend about 1,000 meters. Below that line, you hit eternal night. It's a darkness so incredibly thick and complete that if you floated out there and put your hand right in front of your face, you wouldn't even see a faint silhouette.
Which brings up a pretty massive biological paradox. With absolutely zero light and crushing pressure that can destroy modern metal, you really have to ask yourself, how does anything possibly survive down there?
Section 3. Alien Creatures of the Abyss. Life-defying logic.
Because against all logic, life actually does exist in the dark. But it's adapted into something you and I would barely recognize. When scientists finally managed to get cameras all the way down there, they found these extreme adaptations. We're talking completely transparent bodies, bioluminescent glowing organs used to navigate or lure in prey, and terrifying jaws that open wider than the creature's own head. Technically, a lot of these animals shouldn't even be able to survive under that kind of pressure. But they do. It's like life just threw out the rulebook for the abyss.
Now, while some of those creatures are these fierce deep-sea predators, others survive using a totally different, honestly kind of poetic method. They rely on something called marine snow. Which sounds beautiful, right? But marine snow is basically dead, decaying organic matter that slowly rains down from the vibrant ocean layers way above. It's this continuous, slow-motion shower of detritus, and it provides a crucial food source for an ecosystem completely disconnected from the sun.
Moving on to Section 4. Unexplained sounds from the deep. Echoes in the dark.
So the Mariana Trench is widely known as the absolute quietest place on Earth. And yet, paradoxically, it has produced some of our most profound acoustic mysteries. Back in 2014, underwater microphones picked up a really unusual audio anomaly. This noise was so incredibly deep and massively powerful that it literally echoed across the entire Pacific Ocean. They called it the bloop. At first, scientists thought, okay, maybe a giant sea creature. Later theories pointed to huge icebergs cracking, but the origin was so deep and so loud that even today it remains totally unexplained.
Section 5. Human Descents into Darkness. Journey to the Bottom.
Naturally, human curiosity has pushed us to try and visit this extreme frontier. We just can't help ourselves. But despite our biggest ambitions, only a tiny handful of people have ever risked everything to reach the absolute bottom. It started back in 1960 when two brave explorers descended in the Bathyscaphe Trieste. They managed to stay at the bottom for only about 20 minutes before they had to retreat. Then, decades later, in 2012, filmmaker James Cameron actually pulled off a solo dive, bringing back some incredible high-definition footage.
Cameron's description perfectly captures the severe, overwhelming isolation of the abyss. He described it as completely alien, a desolate lunar landscape underwater. He noted an environment where there were no fish, no movement, just absolute heavy silence. It's a stark reminder of how hostile this place is to visitors. We humans simply cannot stay there for long, which is exactly why almost all of our missions today have to be fully robotic.
Section 6. Science versus the unknown. Earth's final frontier.
There really is a clear boundary down in the dark where our scientific understanding just hits a solid brick wall. I mean, scientifically, we understand the basic geology. The trench was formed by tectonic plate subduction. That's a super slow, violent process where one of the Earth's tectonic plates slides directly underneath another, gouging out this massive scar over millions of years. But while we get the rocks, we can't fully explain the environment. We don't know why some unexplored regions bounce back highly unusual sonar reflections, or how microbial life actually manages to thrive miles deep, right inside that crushing sediment.
And well, what happens when science stops explaining? Human imagination takes over. These gaps in our knowledge have sparked some pretty wild, unproven theories. Everything from unknown giant creatures hiding out in the dark, to ancient species that somehow survived extinction by living in total isolation, to entirely unknown ecosystems operating right under our noses. Now, obviously, these are just theories, but history has taught us a really important lesson here. Every single time humans manage to explore deeper, we find something we absolutely never expected.
Ultimately, the Mariana Trench isn't just a really deep hole in the ocean. It is a chilling reminder. We love to think we know our planet, but we have barely even scratched the surface. Beneath those crashing waves is a world that is ancient, silent, and completely independent of human existence. It's an ecosystem that fundamentally does not care that we are even here.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, a really big lingering question remains. What is actually down there? Is it just rock, overwhelming pressure, and endless darkness? Or is it something more? Something we just haven't been allowed to understand yet?
It leaves us with a profound and maybe slightly chilling realization. You know, the most terrifying places on Earth aren't necessarily the ones filled with giant monsters. Often, they're simply the silent ones, the ones that just absolutely refuse to reveal their secrets. The Mariana Trench might just be the ultimate proof that, despite all our burning curiosity and advanced technology, some parts of our world were truly never meant to be seen. Keep questioning what lies beneath the surface, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.